I push myself to the limit every day. That's just what commercial fishing is. These words capture the mindset of Swamp People star Willie Edwards, a man who's as hardworking as he is mysterious. Since the show's first season, Willie has been a consistent presence, yet fans know remarkably little about his life beyond the swamp. Unlike many reality stars, Willie doesn't chase attention. He doesn't overshare or play to the camera. Instead, his calm, focused demeanor has made him not only one of the most respected hunters on the series, but also one of the most enigmatic. Born and raised in Bayou Sorrel, Louisiana, Willie grew up surrounded by the swamp, a region defined by thick marshes, winding rivers, and survivalist culture. His father, Junior Edwards, was a seasoned hunter who passed on traditional swamp skills to his son from an early age. By the time Willie was just 5 or 6, he was already tagging along on hunting trips, learning the ways of the wild. Their life was modest. The family lived off what the swamp provided, catching fish, frogs, squirrels, deer, and of course alligators. Willie didn't grow up with modern luxuries or distractions. His education came more from the land than from textbooks, and long days in the heat and rain taught him discipline and self-reliance. Willie's skills and work ethic developed early. By his teen years, he was capable of hunting and fishing on his own, setting lines, cleaning catches, repairing engines, and navigating the bayous with ease. Long before the cameras rolled, Willie had already built a life around swamp survival. So when Swamp People premiered in 2010, Willie wasn't acting. He was just doing what he'd always done. Willie and his father joined Swamp People in its debut season, representing traditional swamp families who'd hunted the region for generations. The show stood out for its authenticity, and so did Willie. While others on the show became known for their big personalities, Willie caught attention for his quiet confidence and raw skill. As part of a father-son duo, Willie handled many responsibilities, driving the boat, checking baited lines, and hauling in massive gators. Over time, his consistency and grit made him a fan favorite. After season 6, Junior left the show due to contract disputes. Willie, however, remained, taking on the challenge of hunting solo. Unlike most cast members who work in teams, Willie did everything himself. Viewers quickly noticed the quiet guy had become one of the show's most capable hunters. What makes Willie stand out even more is how little he reveals about his personal life. He's married to Sherry Edwards, and together they've raised children, including William IV, or Little Willie, who has started appearing on the show alongside his father. Yet, beyond these few facts, Willie keeps his home life out of the spotlight. Fans have noticed, while others use social media, give interviews, or stir up drama, Willie stays off the grid. His rare public posts and interviews only add to the intrigue. But instead of hurting his image, this mystery has become a strength, earning him even more respect. Despite his stoic image, Willie hasn't been untouched by hardship. After his father left the show, Willie had to adjust quickly to working alone. The emotional and physical shift wasn't easy. In 2018, tragedy struck when Willie and Sherry reportedly lost their daughter. The family didn't speak much publicly, and while Sherry acknowledged the loss on social media, they grieved privately, once again reminding fans that behind the tough exterior is a man who has endured deep pain. Even outside of alligator season, which only lasts 30 days, Willie continues to hunt, fish, and provide for his family. Swamp People might show the dramatic moments, but the behind-the-scenes grind is far more intense. Repairs, planning, and year-round labor aren't televised, but they're a daily reality for Willie. Now with over 130 episodes across more than 14 seasons, Willie has become a cornerstone of Swamp People. Through cast changes and production shifts, he's remained steady, not by reinventing himself, but by sticking to what he knows best. Even though rumors occasionally swirl about his net worth, his departure from the show, or his family life, Willie doesn't respond. That silence isn't secrecy, it's a choice. He values his privacy, his family, and the integrity of his work. The truth is, there are no big secrets Willie's hiding. What he doesn't want you to know isn't scandal. It's simply his personal life. And in a world where reality stars are often consumed by fame, Willie's refusal to play that game is rare. He's not in it for endorsements, headlines, or viral fame. He's here to work, to provide, and to honor the traditions he grew up with. That's why he's lasted, and why fans continue to admire him. Willie Edwards may be a man of few words, but his presence on Swamp People speaks volumes. He represents something increasingly rare in reality television: quiet authenticity. While others may fade or fall into controversy, Willie remains steady, silent, and strong. So next time you watch him pulling a giant gator from the swamp with calm precision, remember, you're not just seeing a TV character. You're seeing the result of a lifetime of grit, tradition, and quiet resilience. There's an undeniable weight to the way Willie moves through the swamp. It's not just the heavy labor of dragging in massive alligators or navigating treacherous waters. It's the invisible weight of experience, history, and a culture deeply tied to land and water. Every step he takes, every knot he ties, every glance into murky water reflects the lifetime he has lived in this world. One that most people only witness for a few minutes on a screen. Viewers often marvel at how seamlessly he operates in the wild, how he stays composed in high-pressure situations, and how effortlessly he handles tasks that would rattle the average person. But that ease wasn't born from luck. It was earned through decades of waking up before dawn, working in all kinds of weather, and learning from a father who demanded discipline, self-reliance, and respect for nature. In a time when being loud, flashy, or controversial often guarantees more screen time and more followers, Willie's quiet demeanor is a rebellion in itself. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't argue for the camera. He doesn't fake emotion or exaggerate danger. And yet, people are drawn to him. That says something. That says a lot, actually. It says that authenticity still matters. Maybe now more than ever. What you see is what you get with Willie. He doesn't pretend to be someone he's not. Off camera, he's not trying to become a celebrity or chase a brand. He doesn't post selfies from red carpets or promote products for sponsorships. His online presence is minimal, his public appearances rare, and his interviews nearly non-existent. He's not absent. He's just private, and that difference is important. In truth, Willie Edwards is a mirror of the swamp itself: quiet, untamed, full of mystery, and demanding of respect. The same way the swamp doesn't reveal all its secrets to tourists or weekend adventurers, Willie doesn't offer his life story to the public just because they ask. You have to earn understanding, and even then, only so much is shared. Many reality stars start grounded, but eventually shift their priorities once fame enters the picture. They build fan bases and lose themselves trying to maintain popularity. That never happened with Willie. Over more than a decade on Swamp People, he hasn't reinvented himself or adjusted his personality to fit a narrative. Instead, he's allowed the show to evolve around him while he remains anchored in the same values and habits that shaped him as a boy. Those values are rooted in family, tradition, and survival, not in fame or fortune. His loyalty to the land that raised him and the lifestyle that sustains him speaks louder than any storyline a producer could write. He never needed to be the face of the franchise. He became its heart instead. And while Willie might not talk much on screen, his actions tell powerful stories. When he steps onto the boat before the sun rises, he's not just starting a hunt. He's honoring generations of knowledge passed down through bloodlines. When he hauls in a gator by himself, he's proving that the old ways still work. And when he returns home at the end of a long day, likely muddy, sore, and sunburned, he's continuing a cycle of work and sacrifice that connects him to his ancestors. You can see this legacy being passed on to his son, little Willie. It's one of the few personal aspects of his life that Willie has allowed fans to witness. But even those moments are quiet, subtle, and meaningful. There are no heart-to-heart conversations for the camera, no dramatic emotional arcs. Just a father showing a son how to survive, how to work, and how to do things the right way, the Edwards way. For viewers paying attention, these quiet scenes speak louder than any confessionals or behind-the-scenes gossip ever could. They represent a lineage, a way of life under threat by modernization, urbanization, and even climate change. The swamp is changing, and with it, the traditions it has protected for generations. But people like Willie Edwards serve as living bridges between the past and the present, reminding audiences that some ways of life are worth preserving, even if they don't make headlines. Beyond the swamp, Willie's story resonates because it reflects something deeply human, the desire to live life on one's own terms. In a world increasingly shaped by digital noise and public exposure, his decision to remain grounded and private feels like a quiet form of resistance. He reminds us that dignity isn't found in the spotlight, but in the way a person shows up every day, does their job, honors their roots, and protects what matters most. For many fans, Willie is more than a television personality. He's a symbol of endurance, someone who has faced personal loss, professional changes, and the relentless grind of life in the wild without breaking down or selling out. His resilience isn't loud. It's not broadcast with hashtags or hashtags. It's in the way he shows up again and again, year after year, season after season, always doing the work. People often wonder what Willie Edwards is like when the cameras aren't rolling. But maybe the more important question is this: why does that matter? Isn't it enough to respect a man who has chosen to keep parts of his life sacred, in a media landscape obsessed with access and exposure? Willie's silence is not a flaw. It's a boundary. One that more people in the public eye might benefit from drawing. And maybe that's the thing Willie Edwards didn't want you to know. Not because it's a secret, but because it's personal. He doesn't need your attention. He doesn't want your pity. He's not hiding. He's just living, simply, honestly, and on his own terms. His strength isn't just in his physical ability to wrestle a half-ton reptile. It's in his decision to remain unchanged by a world that constantly pressures people to be more open, more marketable, more dramatic. Willie is enough as he is. That's the message he sends every time he appears on screen and then disappears again until the next season. And maybe that's why fans keep watching, not because of the gators, the gear, or the danger, but because of Willie himself. He's become the anchor of swamp people, not just through consistency, but through integrity. The kind of integrity that doesn't demand praise or attention, but earns it over time. So the next time you see him glide silently through the bayou, eyes focused, hands steady, remember, that's a man who's carrying more than just gear and bait. He's carrying a legacy, a family name, and the quiet power of someone who knows exactly who he is and doesn't need to explain it to anyone. And in the world of reality TV,